Look up, everybody. It is the newest episode of Capes and Cast Members podcast. And this week we are discussing the Man of Steel with the Bear of Steel. So let's get right to it, everybody. Today we are diving into the world of Superman. It is Comic-Con week, so what better week to do this? We're going to introduce the brand new Superman to the world. Hopefully you've all seen the movie because we are definitely going to get into spoiler territory here and there. Disclaimer before we start, I do work for Warner Brothers Discovery, so bear that in mind. My guest today does not, so he can say whatever he wants. But here we go. I'm so happy and excited to introduce my guest today. We've known each other for many, many years, and he's a handsome man, a smart man, and someone who knows so much about comics and film. The incredible Mr. Bill Zanowitz. Welcome to
Hi.
the show.
How's it going, Brad?
It is going great. It is so great to see you, my friend. If you don't know Bill, stop what you're doing and look up the Comic Bears podcast, which, how long have you been doing that, Bill?
We've been doing the Comic Book Bears podcast since 2012, since early 2012. So that's just past 13 years. So it would have been April of 2012.
I haven't been doing anything since 2012.
And we've weathered a lot of the storms with lineup shakeups and all that in the pandemic. But with the pandemic, we went from being an audio only podcast to being also a video cast. So apart from checking us out on most of the podcasting platforms for audio, you can also go to our YouTube channel and see at this point like an archive of like 5 years of video. Yeah, so been at it a while.
I will.
Yeah.
Right now. But well, welcome, my friend. I could not think of anybody who I'd rather do this with. Not only are you a comic book fan in general, a film fan, but you are a hardcore Superman fan, DC Comics fan, as am I. And right off the bat, did you like the movie? Just yes or no?
Yes. Straight up answer, yes. I've seen it 3 times at this point.
Ooh, me too.
So that's an indication.
And what is your brief connection with Superman?
Well, for me, I've told this story a couple of times on our own cast and some others. And for me, the watershed event was the premiere of Super Friends when I was 6 years old. I always say it was like one little 6-year-old kid before 9 a.m. and I was another little kid at 9:57 a.m. And I had been exposed to the Aquaman and Batman Filmation cartoons in the New York market, which aired in the mornings, and also the Adam West Batman. But it wasn't anything that was, said, come on in. There wasn't anything that said, come on, be a fan. And there was something about the teaming of the heroes that just it just gelled in something with me. And then that same day when my parents and I were shopping, I got the Superman and Aquaman Mego figures, and it's so wild that I actually can pinpoint the date when this all happened. The comic books happened like a few weeks later. It wasn't like till the end of the month.
A few weeks later, okay.
A few weeks later, yeah. And my very first superhero comic was a Superman comic, Action 430. That was my very first, and it had, whatever else was going on in comics, he was always at the top of the heap, at the top of the pull list there. And in terms of the films, there's a lot of affection for films with this character. And Superman 78 was the first film I ever saw on its opening day. And just kept up with that and, even took PTO last Friday to get it in, on that basis. So,
Do you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta.
I did see it earlier.
All right.
I did see the Amazon Prime preview screening the first time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn you, Bill Zanowitz.
But, it's been a long time
yeah,
with the character. We're talking 52 years at this point, so which is amazing because I look pretty good for, 41,
28. Yeah. You look good for any age, Bill. Uh, our stories very much mirror each other in our love of Superman and Super Friends. Seeing Superman, Christopher Reeve in the theater. I always tell people that's why I work at Warner Brothers. Is because of that film and that, and of course Wonder Woman. That's a whole other lasso. Um, so yeah, it's been a long time. It's been almost our whole lives with some sort of Superman or another. Now, we heard, yes, that you liked the movie. Now, did it live up to the hype? I know you were super excited, as was
Yeah.
I. You had even told me you had not felt this way in a long time.
I don't think I've felt this way since Empire, in terms of excitement for a film.
Record?
Honest Empire Strikes Back. You know, I honestly, it was just this, it was a situation, and I'm sure there's a lot of people feel this way, that with the teaser trailers, it seemed that every little bit of footage that came out added to your excitement. And, just for me, I can't think of another cinematic experience that I've had in all that time that, it just the momentum and the excitement for it just kept growing. It's amazing because this
Right.
this movie had a lot to cover. This movie had a lot on its shoulders, and,
Did.
that it did deliver is, just chef's kiss in so many ways.
There was a lot going on in that movie, Bill.
Yeah.
There's a establishing a whole universe in, just it's a little over 2 hours.
Yep.
It's a big tone shift.
Yeah. Not just this, I mean, I tend to make some very grandiose statements when I talk about film, especially, I don't know why. Uh, but I really feel that this is the movie that we need at this time. It really feels that way, of something that, um and, Gunn's somebody that, can operate in the darkness as well, you know, and that he recognized what makes this character distinctive from the get-go. You just I I didn't have a camera on me, but if you did have a camera on me watching it that first time, I probably had a smile from the first frame on. And,
I
it
I really
definitely what it
believe
needed
that. I
to do,
really
yeah,
believe that.
yeah, but I think for what it needed to do, and, you know, being the, essentially the starting gun for no pun intended,
No
but
pun
we can
intended,
use
right?
that, a starting gun,
The
Gunn,
starting gun.
that might have life after this. Uh, it really was, it really was a situation where it delivered, it hit all the beats it needed to hit. It really did.
I agree, I agree. I thought, from moment 1, it came out the gate, set everything up. Love how no there's just, a few little, words on the screen. You all know Superman, you all know where he's from, nothing's changed thus far, and here we go. And I really can't think of a movie in recent memory that's trying to establish something that did that, trusted the audience so much, so I thought that was great. Yeah. Now, there is no compare it's not fair to compare actors, but we can compare Superman. So, just not from the acting ability, but from the character portrayed, where does this rank in your hierarchy of Superman?
Yeah, I mean, I really have a hard time ranking actors
Right.
because so many actors are of their time.
Mm,
Um, and I think we've been very lucky that in the very least, in the case of George Reeves and Christopher Reeve, probably had, you know, an optimal experience of actors of their time portraying the character. Um, so I really I've always had a hard time, like, ranking the actors in what they did because, and some of it, certainly for the first 3 gentlemen that you know, portrayed him in live action, they didn't have the benefit of the amazing advances in special effects that we have right now.
right.
So I tend not to say, like, Christopher Reeve was my favorite Superman, or, this. I will say this though, and Brad, I'm really wondering if this is something that you do. As a huge comic reader, I have a particular voice for characters in my head, and a lot of it is formed from your first exposure of the character. So
Yes.
saying Super Friends, the Superman's voice in my head since I was a kid has always been some variation of Danny Dark from Super Friends. It
Sure.
Christopher Reeve didn't take it over, and none of the other gentlemen took it over, even in the animation, and I think that, the 2 main actors that played him in, animated series were excellent, and George Newborn and Timothy Daly. I have to say, though, I read a comic book yesterday, and all of a sudden, it's Cornsweat's voice. So,
Wow,
I was shocked about that, but,
that's high
yeah,
praise. That's
yeah. So,
wow.
I think, I think however you look at it, he's gonna be known as one of the more effective, um, more effective actors who have played this part.
I agree. I wanted to touch on something you mentioned about of the time, especially of the effects. To me, a good Superman is beyond the effects. George Reeves, we all, even as little kids, you're like, this is weird. But the ability to sell it, he sold it like nobody's business. Even to this day, that show still holds up.
Yep.
Any of us could watch it on TV and go, wow, that guy is committed.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, it's and now I do have the Super Friend Superman usually. It's funny because after a certain point in reading, the voice kinda changes for me anyway,
Mhm.
but it's never been anyone other than Superman and or Christopher Reeve, depending.
Mhm.
Uh, it was Dean Cain for a while, but we all make mistakes. Um, it's okay. So yeah, it's hard to choose, but I would put him right up there. He really did make it his own. And that is very hard to do in this world of endless comic book movies and things like that. I think he really took control of it and really embodied the character, in a way that a few people have, and good for him. And once again, I'm biased. I've met the man, I've hugged the
Mm.
man, so I've just gotta that's why I have you, Bill. That's why I have
Yeah. I did meet
Uh,
Christopher Reeve once, and it was a really strange
oh, I
situation.
oh,
In that when a younger version of me, before I went to law school, worked in the business end of Broadway theater, though I was doing creative stuff on the side, but not that wasn't what paid the bills. And
pre-crisis.
yeah, pre-crisis bill. And, the job I had at the time was as the, sales director, audience services director for Circle in the Square Theater, and
Mhm.
Christopher Reeve was doing a benefit for us, and, um, there was a point where I was on, 51st and 7th, and he had almost no time to rehearse what they were
Mhm.
doing for this benefit, so I said I'd meet him and give him the script as soon as I could. And there's a point where he's running towards me, and I'm like, in part of my head, he's like, "He's gonna unbutton the goddamn shirt," you know, running across the street. And he was very kind, very, very kind. Um, but yeah, that was my only experience with meeting him.
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I've never got to meet the man myself. One of my few regrets, but it didn't happen. I've met almost everybody else involved, so I'll take solace. I'll take that as a win. Moving on, we've got the equally difficult part of Lois Lane.
Mhm.
Miss Rachel Brosnahan, thoughts?
So as I've said, I've seen the film 3 times. It was really on the 3rd time that I fully appreciated how well she embodies this part. Um,
Hmm,
I think
all right.
I think Lois Lane's have been, a little bit, um, uneven, in terms
Yes,
of
to say the least.
how you
Yes.
feel with the actors, and for me, the greatest Lois Lane on camera wasn't Lois Lane, it was Rosalind Russell in His Girl Friday. If you see that,
Yes. Oh
that
yeah.
is Lois Lane. But I thought she did a great job, and the chemistry she had with Corn Sweat, I mean,
Mhm.
there's no if I were casting the movie, I would just be there's no point in seeing anyone else. When you have that interplay and that sense of almost, riding on the other person's the last words. That's something you can't create from whole cloth. I mean, it's just it happens or it doesn't. And it really
Right.
was on the 3rd time that I really appreciated how good she was in this.
Wow,
Mm.
it's about to sink in for you.
Yeah.
Well, it happens. It sneaks up on you.
Yep.
I remember when they were casting for Man of Steel, at the studio, every actress walked in. I saw them go in to the stage to read. They had rebuilt the, Lois's apartment from the original movie, the balcony, and they had put Henry in the original Superman outfit, Christopher Reeve outfit, and every one of the like, dozens of, like, big actresses going in, going out, fascinated by the choices that actresses make to be Lois Lane because that's a fine line, damsel in distress, ace reporter. What does it being a reporter mean today? I think she was chosen because she's, of course, Mrs. Maisel. She's got that the Rosalind Russell of it all. She's got that. She's got the sass. I do think what I wanted was a little bit more of an active Lois Lane,
Mhm.
like physically active. You know, I liked it when one of my favorite Lois moments is when Superman 2, Margot Kidder punches, Sarah Douglas out. You're a real pain in the neck. Bam.
Yeah.
Love it. Um, I'm sure we'll get more as time goes by. Uh, but I do think at moments like that is Margot Kidder. She's had some of the moments that she stole for herself, and I thought that was great.
Mhm.
It's just such a hard, thankless role to be Lois Lane in
Yeah.
a
But
someone called it Barbie for boys. And I'm like,
uh
yep, movie's Barbie for
Yeah.
boys.
I have to say though, it's really interesting that you mentioned like the succession of actresses who came in and had their own take on it. And um, there was a point where I was helping somebody with a town rec with acting lessons for children. Uh, and then I ended up doing it for much older kids, like 14, 15. And one of the clips that I showed in the class was the audition segments from the Superman the movie bonus features. And in there, 3 actresses in particular, Leslie Ann Warren, Sigourney Weaver, and Margot Kidder, they're all excellent, but all of their Loises are wildly different. And you could see on camera that, who had the best chemistry with Reeve. And, you know again, that's something you also have to teach actors, like, sometimes it doesn't matter what you bring to the table, and with the totality of the circumstances, they may be completely in your favor or you're up against it, and, it's interesting you said it because I think that's been the case since the character was created and actresses, audition for it because there's a couple different ways to go with her. Um, and, like I said, I mentioned this because this is very easily available if people want to see this audition footage. These are 3 excellent actresses, but they're all 3 very different Lois Lanes. Um, but, like you said, it comes down to matching, and, I think that they made the right choice for this, and again, of our time for this day and age.
Uh, my s of course, Margot Kidder, my Lois Lane. 2nd would be Terry Hatcher. I thought she did an amazing job, Lois and Clark. Really hooked. She really got the character. I think Rachel. I look forward to seeing more. You know,
Uh-huh.
um, I love that she's been on press tours wearing different outfits from different comic covers of Lois Lane. Uh, love it, love it. And now, of course, we got to move on to our second favorite bald guy next to me, and that, of course, is Les Luthor. Uh, between you, me, and the Kryptonite, what do you think?
Well, for me, like, I still haven't seen the Lex Luthor in my head, you know?
All right.
Um, because I think since the character is based on envy, and they did touch that in the movie, I'm not saying that that wasn't an element of that. Um,
Mhm.
but my Lex in my head is always about 20 years old in the Superman. And I
Yep.
don't think we've ever really seen that. I thought Gene Hackman's, I mean, you can't see it, but the Funko Pop's right over there. Um, that was a brilliant take on the character, and, it was a good choice for that it was a good choice for that particular film with with the 3 arc and the current day being the most lighthearted of it, and all that. But I haven't seen Lex as I know him yet in live action. I thought Nicholas Hoult did a fine job. I think they really showed, um, if you wanna just tap that vein of billionaires literally get away with murder, um,
Right.
that they got that right, and, even going back to the chemistry, even the adversarial position in on film is chemistry in a sense, that opposite back and forth, actors can't do that if they're not up against somebody they can't trust, you know, and just to deviate for a second, I just wish this promotional tour could go on for like 3 years with these
Yeah.
actors, yeah.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
that's been almost as much fun as watching the film. But no, I thought
Once again,
Holt did a great job.
it's like
Yeah.
Barbie. The Barbie press tour was incredible. It was as entertaining as the movie.
Mhm.
So I think that the kind folks at Warner Brothers Discovery, have been doing a great job in with these tentpole movies, and once again, if these guys had no chemistry together, those would be super awkward press junkets, but,
Yep.
I agree. I think that they've done a great job.
Mhm.
I thought it was good,
Mhm.
lowercase good. Uh, yeah, once again, too young. I 100% Lex has to have experience, and
Yeah.
my favorite Lex is I apologize for not remembering his name, season 1 of Superboy, the live action.
Sherman Howard, was that the actor's name, I think? Was it
To me,
maybe,
he
yeah.
he was a really good, he
Yeah.
was a really good, evil Lex Luthor. He took what Gene Hackman did and just, hammed it up.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's hard. Lex is hard, especially when we have real Lex Luthors in real life.
Mhm.
It's hard. He's really, up against the wall with that. When he freaks out at the end and, his, close up on his face and he's all sweaty and just losing it, I'm like, "There, more please, more of that, more of that." But, he's a household name. It's like, "Oh, who's your favorite Joker?" Oh, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'll get hate mail. I did not like Heath Ledger as the Joker, even a little bit. But,
Mhm.
everyone has their own thing. Everyone's got their own thing, Bill.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, and I go back to, like I said about Rosalind Russell, like, for me, the ultimate Joker who never played Joker is Tim Curry. And it's sad that when he did have that role in a limited capacity that things just didn't work in his favor.
yeah,
Um, to me, I
he
think he
still
would have been
has some of
great.
the traits.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I always have a hard time when, because as I said, I certainly have my favorites, but to rank them given the circumstances of, time, and being of their time, I tend not to think that way. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now, let's just go a little bit further. Jimmy Olsen, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Fine, some people, on my own podcast, uh, had some issues about certain characters, Hawkgirl in particular, where there wasn't, an extended degree of development, and I had to remind them, name of the film is Superman. Um it's not
He's on the
Superman
marquee, yeah.
and his acquaintance or something. Um, I thought he was fine. Would have liked to have seen the I wish we knew what made him such a chick magnet. I wish we saw that in action at some point
Yeah.
because he just seemed to be bewildered by that, and there has to be something, in his makeup that, that,
Was was
trips
is
off that
Mixes
magnet
Piddalik in the
activity.
background
Yeah.
cast spell or
Yeah.
something that we don't know
It
about?
just had to be something. I would have liked to have seen just talking to a woman at a bar, and you would get it. But
Yeah, yeah, there's really no
he
foundation. I
certainly
agree with
looked
that.
like a Jimmy, though. Oh my god.
He
He
did.
certainly did.
He did. And he wasn't shot in the first 5 minutes like certain other Jimmy Olsens were.
Yeah.
Um, at least he made it through the movie. Let's see, Perry White
It's fine,
was
not a lot
phenomenal.
to do, you know,
Was hot.
didn't have a lot to do. Um, but thought in the scenes that you did see with him, I could understand the casting. Um,
Right.
I almost hope that one of the projects they have down the road is a Daily Planet miniseries or something.
An HBO Max
Yeah,
show would be
just like
great.
you seriously just explain that Clark and Lois are on assignment, and Metropolis is such a character in and of itself that
Right.
it's certainly something that could work.
I think that's an amazing idea,
Yeah.
especially in, once again, the climate
Mhm.
and news, fake news, all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
I
absolutely.
agree. You don't need the 2 leads. I think there's enough,
Yeah.
with everybody else. Cat Grant there with a wig.
There, yeah.
Uh,
I
any
was
other standouts in the Daily Planet?
I have to say, like, we got into this on the Movie Bears podcast. It's just posted the Comic Book Bears podcast, this
You've been busy,
we always yeah.
pal. Thank you for making time. You've been a busy bear.
When there's a new superhero film out, I tend to get pulled in a couple different directions.
Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I
And
love it.
that's before the movie.
Yeah. So, I thought with Blake first, I'm happy to see Steve Lombard on film because
Yeah.
when I started reading comics, he was a new character, so there's so when you are, with a character from their beginning, there's an affinity there. And I thought there was one moment that Blake Bennett had when, again, we'll just, preface this if there were spoilers when they did show the film of Kal-El's parents, him without words and not even changing his face, the way that he took off the Superman pin that was on him, I just thought that was
Oh, yeah.
really nuanced. It's a brief, short moment, but I thought it was
I
completely
didn't
on
notice
point.
that till the second viewing. I didn't even notice that
Yeah.
till, like, oh,
Yep.
shoot, that's
Yeah.
a I agree. Now we've got, you talked about Hot Girl for a second. She's, she is really inside baseball, James Gunn, uh, you know, not the hot girl that we're used to seeing, not Shara Hall.
Mhm.
And yeah, she didn't get much to do, but I would love to see more, I mean,
Yeah.
female superheroes.
Yeah.
What do we think of Guy Gardner?
Uh, he this is one of those things like this is my gardener. This is my guy from now on.
Mm.
Like this is the voice I will hear when I read Guy Gardner will be Nathan Fillion. Um, and seriously, there's nothing better in a James Gunn film than seeing Nathan Fillion play an asshole.
That's true.
And
So good at it.
he was so good at it, and just the totality of the look and oh man, it all worked. It all worked. It
I
felt
agree.
genuine, it felt genuine. It didn't as over the top as it was, it still felt like there really is a person who would be exactly like this. And God forbid you give him some kind of mechanics that give him superpowers.
And all these watching the movie, I've said this before, it was a lot like reading comics as a kid,
Ugh.
and it really reminded me of, Justice League America, Justice League International, the Geffen Demetis run, and I thought, Nathan Fillion can do no wrong with me. He was great. Um, when you're gonna get more of him in the Lantern Show,
Mhm.
I saw them filming some stuff, and he's just a sweet guy. Mr. Terrific, someone
Uh,
that probably only you and me know.
yeah, and that's not gonna be the case anymore. Of all the characters to pull from DC's huge legacy of, to pull from that roster, and it was the right choice, It really was the right choice of, um, brain plus brawn to kind of
Yeah.
throw a little bit of a button on something else that's said in the film, and he did a great job, and, Man, and I have to say, like, there are moments when you see a film and you just forget that these are special effects, and when he landed on that encampment, with the Jonas and the Whale song playing, it was
Right.
mm, it was so good, and he kept it up through the whole film, with having, some of them
Yeah, yeah,
it's really funny because
he
he's not a
stole a lot of the
comedic
movie.
character, but a lot of the comedic bits are kinda anchored by him, you know? I think we all have that I think
It's
we
hard
all have
playing
a
the straight man,
friend.
though.
Yeah, I think we all have a friend at some point in our lives who is completely humorless, and because of that, they're hysterical. Um, and,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be like, Mr. Terrific, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely he and a certain canine companion are definitely the ones that stole the movie away and, surprised people the most. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen with that character. There's so many ways that, as we know, being comic book fans, that that character can go. Uh, I thought, wow, every time he was on screen, it's like the subtle nods and things. I thought he had a mastery of the character, and I like the one for you out there, the Arrowverse. I thought that the Mr. Terrific in the Arrowverse TV series was pretty solid. So I was very happy to see that. Crypto,
Huh.
let me hear it. Let me hear it.
I've never been happier for non-traditional crypto casting, and this is something I said on the show last night was, in the past, that crypto has always been the paragon of good boy, and to see something different and to see how well it works, mm, just,
Much I My dog looks like Crypto, the traditional version of Crypto, as most of you know.
mhm,
I love that dog. Behind me is a few stuffed Cryptos. I was nervous.
mhm,
I tried not to be the guys like, "That is not what Crypto looks like." I like an out of control Crypto because that's the world's biggest fear is, "Oh god, a super dog, what's it gonna do?" Uh, and the reveal at the end, spoilers once again, everybody, turn it off if you haven't heard. The idea that, Crypto is on loan from Kara, even better, love that too. And now just the aftermath of all the, people wanting to adopt dogs and animals, and even if even one dog gets adopted off of that, that's worth it. So bravo to Crypto. Um, every time the dog got hurt, the audience freaked out.
yeah,
Um, I was giving a tour and at Warner Brothers, and I was asking these people, they're huge Superman, they had Superman shirts on. I'm like, "Are you excited for the movie?" And the wife is like, "I don't know if I can watch it." I was like, "What do you mean?" "Well, because I know they're gonna kill Crypto, and I can't watch." I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't think I don't think they're gonna kill Crypto." But she had just seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and she
yeah,
was of that mindset of, "Oh god." I
yeah,
was like, "I'm 90% sure that we're
yeah,
Crypto's gonna be okay." But, throughout the movie, whenever he got hurt, the audience is like, "Oh my god," when he got the stuff on his face, when he got bapped,
mhm,
people they fell in love with the dog, and,
mhm.
I love my favorite Crypto that he's great. I love the Crypto from the Titans live action. Who else? Who else? Have we not covered anybody? Who do we miss, Billy Z? Anybody
We
you can
have
think of?
Ultraman and the
We
Engineer.
do have Ultraman. Do we
Yeah.
though? Do we? Do we have Ultraman? Alright, Bill, I'm gonna ask you to give our kind listeners and viewers, just a Reader's Digest version of who Ultraman normally is
Okay, so
in the
Ultraman,
comics.
the main character that's known as Ultraman is from a parallel universe, initially known as Earth 3, where bad was good. You know, y you know, George Washington surrendered to Benedict Arnold, Lincoln shot President John Wilkes Booth, the whole history is inverted, and that included the superheroes. So, during one of the Justice League Justice Society team ups, they introduced the crime syndicate, which included these variations of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash. and the Superman variant was Ultraman. Um, and they've done some different things with the characters. I really loved the take on, I think it was Crisis on Three Earths, the animated
Yeah.
movie
Yeah, yeah,
where the
yeah.
Ultraman kind of sounded like a mob boss, which I thought made
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Gangster, yeah.
Yeah. So he's the mirror version of he's the traditionally the evil mirror version of Superman.
Yeah.
And there are different takes about cloning of Superman in
Mhm.
the comics. That this has been a mainstay since 1986.
Oh, yeah.
Of some things, and I have a feeling this might not be the last we see of the character. I think he
The
might
toys are selling really well.
morph. Yeah. Are they? Are they? That's great.
Yeah, they
That's
are.
that's great. Because that's one thing I also really appreciate about this film was how toyetic it was. Yeah, I mean, because I picked up a few things here, but um, you but at the same token, all of it felt genuine. All of it felt organic and not, oh, we have to throw in Hawkgirl
Right.
as a character.
And bonus for Billy Z using the word toyetic, from
Mhm.
our good friend Joel Schumacher and, the kind folks at Warner Brothers Marketing. But yeah, I everybody comes up to me, "Oh, is this supposed to be Bizarro?" I mean, once again, like you said, clone. Take it whichever way you want to. For me, it was like they were doing a not a spoof, but more of an homage to The Boys,
Yeah, and I also felt
with
like
Homelander, Black
of
Noir.
all the characters, he was the one closest to plot point,
Yeah.
of having the DNA available and things like that. Um, that was the one where if you're not gonna go head first into character development, this was the one to do it. Um,
And I
almost
admit,
certainly.
I'm one of the people that wished it would have been Henry Cavill. Had he taken it off and been Henry, I mean, it never happened in a million years.
Yeah.
But, I thought that would be super cute, and, now with computers, you guys can go wild with that. Uh, so did you like Ultraman? I'm so sorry. Did you like the character?
I like the action scenes with him. I kind of, uh for me, I think there would have been more resonance if it was actually Lex in a Luthor suit.
Power suit? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're of the time. Get your little
Yeah.
superpowers action figure out.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, Ultraman, just a great name. And the technician?
The
Is that who?
engineer. Yeah.
Engineer,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I've certainly seen the movie, everybody.
Yeah.
The engineer, not even really of the Superverse, more of the Wildstorm
Right. Um,
Authority.
yeah. And I know that, the Authority was initially announced as one of the possible projects for the Gods and Monsters phase of the DC Studios films.
Mhm.
That version in the comics is, let's just say more on the heroic side. But the Authority in and of itself is problematic. Um, so
Yeah,
uh, I think as just kind of throwing the hook in for into the water to kind of put the Authority
right.
line to venture into the water. I thought it was a smart choice
Yeah, I agree.
if they follow up on that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and visuals were great.
But I would have
Everyone
liked to have
loved,
seen
you
more of
know
why she took those choices. She mentioned
yeah,
she gave
why
up
she
her
decided to
humanity.
give up
What
everything to be who
happened?
she
You
was.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. What
Once
happened that
again,
made her
mm,
take those steps? Yeah. So,
we have lots of venues where we can explore that now happily.
mhm.
So, Miss Tessmacher, how could I have forgotten Eve? One of my
I
favorite
just
original Superman
I
characters.
absolutely love that she's like a TikToker. I just that makes perfect sense for where
Yes.
that character started and where it would be right now.
Watching her, all I could think of is I really want her and Margot Robbie to team up with an Eve Harley mashup. Just just even like a 10-minute, behind the featurette of them just running around Metropolis. I would just love that. I just love that. You'd mentioned Gods and Monsters, of course, which is the James Gunn's view of the first wave of DC Universe. What do you think of the kaiju that we got? Speaking of monsters.
I thought it was fine. I and that was the thing I loved about Silver Age Superman comics. In a Silver Age Superman comic, all of a sudden there was a green dragon who was terrorizing Metropolis. And if this were the modern day, we would have had 4 issues leading up to the creation of the green dragon and why it's here and what's its motivation and causing destruction. In the Silver Age, it just appeared. And that was that kind of felt like that. Like, and I also felt like that was a really cool way of establishing what this world is like. They've had metahumans for 300 years. They
Right.
don't bat an eye where there's weird shit in the sky. They don't bat an eye that there's such a thing as pocket universes. And, certainly they're gonna be scared as shit, seeing a kaiju on city streets, but you got the feeling, especially from the guy in the shop who was just
I was
standing
gonna say the
there,
guy that was just
that
hanging out
he's been there
watching.
before, So, in terms of, like, Silver Agey comic booky moments, I thought that was really great.
I also you and me both also have a love of kaiju films. So
Mm.
on a kaiju scale, how would you see him? I don't know their gender, sorry, their
Oh,
role, compared to our good friend Godzilla. How do you think he would rank?
oh, he seemed to be, like, just, like, dodum, dodum, like, a bit more clumsy than some of our favorites, so he probably
I could see
wouldn't
him
do
on
that
Monster
well.
Island.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Him and, Manila could hang out.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And we didn't talk about Metamorpho, um, or as he's referred to in the film, the
We did
Elephant
not
Man.
talk about
Yeah,
the Element Man.
yeah.
Sorry, he evaporated. I didn't see him. Your thoughts? Metamorpho.
I liked that they used the character to show just how bizarre some of the characters that can be considered antagonists, um, will be in this universe. Like, they didn't pick, like, a safe character like, I don't know, Guardian or Airwave, um, they picked a freak, you
Airwave
know?
Airwave as a safe character?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, not
Alright.
not now,
Uh-huh.
but
Anyway, yes, go
yeah.
on.
And, but it also did lead to one of my gripes about the movie. It's like, we've had decent CGI since Jurassic Park or arguably The Abyss. Um,
Yeah.
why can't they get baby aliens right? They always look so weird. Their
Yeah.
movements and stuff, and baby Joey deserved better. He did, right?
Um,
Yeah,
God, that freaked me out. He did deserve better, Joey. I
yeah.
agree. I love Metamorpho. One of my earliest memories is I had one of those, which I'm sure you have in your collection somewhere. I don't doubt it. The Metamorpho record
Oh, yes, was it the
with the
single with
song.
with Plastic Man?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
even before I knew who he was, I knew the song.
Uh-huh.
Um, to me, the character's more. I don't think they got the character right. Yeah, that. Oh my god, how did I that? Uh,
It's just happenstance that that's right here.
we didn't plan this, folks. We did
We did
not.
not plan that.
Uh, to me, he's a little more brash and
Hmm.
more Ben Grimm like.
Mhm.
Like it's hey you, a little more Bill Zanowitz like actually. Um, so I think it took me out of it. He was a little too milk toast about things.
Yeah, I think so, and, with that character, like, traditionally, he hates the situation he's in,
Yeah.
and he'd do anything to get out of it. Um, like I said, name of the movie is Superman. Maybe that's something we'll see down the road, but I don't mind likable Metamorpho,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
mind that too much. And, it was nice to see a character have a hero's arc,
And he
you
likes the
know?
name Justice Gang, so
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
All right. Now, just quick thoughts. Seeing the Hall of Justice, live action. How'd you feel?
Oh, it was nice. I loved some of the Easter eggs. If you saw what was on some of the murals,
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Oh boy, that
That's
mural.
that's a real deep that's your real Easter eggy stuff. It's nice to see it. But I have to say, like, there were a few times in my life as an adult where I was speechless, and I think at like 3 or 4 of the Six Flags, there are versions of the Hall of Justice, and when I stood outside the steps
Yes,
at Great Adventure here in Jackson, New Jersey, I was
I have the
speechless.
picture.
Yeah, I was speechless. Um, so
I cried here. Yeah.
yeah, yep. But it was nice to see, I didn't necessarily think it would be, like a place that a car could drive right up to it, but
We'll
we
see.
got it.
Any other Easter eggs other than the fantastic painting in the background that will disseminate until the Blu-ray
I
comes out?
loved the geography of it. I loved that
Mm.
Markovia was the country above the 2 that were in conflict, and I loved
Mhm.
the street signs in Metropolis indicating how many miles Gotham City was. That kinda stuff
Yes.
just makes that's where I, like, do the happy clappy. Um,
Happy
yeah.
clappy.
Yeah,
Oh, that's my new favorite thing. The Bill
yeah.
Zanowitz happy clappy, everybody. All right.
'Cause, it's those little subtle ways, like, yeah, it's Easter eggs, but it's also world building. And, that they have devices like that inside films that was oh, man. That kinda stuff just made me go nuts. Yeah.
All right. Biggest criticisms of the film.
Baby
What
Joey.
what there we Yeah.
Baby Joe
Justice
in
for
it, and I
Baby
also
Joey.
thought the 3rd act is a little too chaotic. I thought it was it was almost as if there was, like, a couple of instances where they could have reeled back, like how long certain fight scenes were or something. It
What
was a little bit chaotic in the 3rd act, but like I said, like, I have so few criticisms because they all feel, like, nitpicky, you know?
Right.
And I'm not above criticizing films, I'm not above criticizing Superman films, the as good as the Reeves movies are, they're not perfect, you know? Um
How dare you?
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And one is really not perfect, um, but not the one you might think that I feel.
Like, ooh.
Yep.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I am certain we could get, like, 3.5 hours of us just talking about Superman 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm
That would give Daniel
absolutely
an aneurysm. Uh, as the numbers are showing, people were ready for this movie, in a way I didn't expect. It's, one of my favorite things, as you know, you pointed out, you posted the other day, pictures of little kids dressed as Superman and stuff like that. I think we're on the same wavelength of
Mhm.
that is really what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, oh, man. Like, for me, that movie was Star Wars. I was and there's no such movie, called A New Hope. Um,
I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. But, I mean, I was 9 years old when that came out, and here you go, kid. Uh, and man, I am envious of little kids that would get to see this film, and, hopefully, that might set them on a course for that might be their super friends, you know? Um But that
It's true.
you also have to keep that in mind is like and that it can you could easily make a kid film with Superman. You easily could do it. And,
Yeah.
we haven't had that. We really haven't had that with any of the films. That was strictly juvenile. Um, but that doesn't mean there aren't things that they're gonna latch onto, in
Right?
a film that adults are gonna enjoy, so, yeah.
All right. We're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about Kara Zor-El.
Okay.
She was only seconds in the film, but left quite an impression, good or bad, for people. Uh, thoughts. I know you know the source material that it's taken from,
Mhm.
but out of context,
I just wanted to say that, what appears to be the case is a lot of this is going to be based around a miniseries called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Mhm.
I am in the huge minority of comic fans where I didn't really enjoy that series that much.
I did
Um,
not either.
yeah, I've already had True Grit,
Mm.
I don't need true grit and space, you know,
Wow, that's a
with
good assessment of that,
with
yeah,
with uh, with an annoying juvenile female
yeah.
character. Um, but the landscape that they
Leave it to
put her
Bill
in,
to sum it up with a classic film.
yeah, but the where they put her in, I think the possibilities are great. And um if she's a teenager, she's certainly talking to Clark the way a teenager would talk to somebody else. Uh, and however, whatever point in time you play Supergirl, her origin is much darker than Kal-El's. That there's, if she's not, if she's not inherently as good as he is, there's a number of sufficient rationales that could be worked in to understand that. So, like you said, we only had a little taste, we only had a little morsel, but, um, especially at that point in the movie where you just like, "Whoop, oh, I guess we're waking up now." Um, yeah, no, I thought they in terms of an introduction, it was awesome.
And bravo to them for it not being at a, mid-credit scene. It was just
Yeah.
seamlessly part of the movie. You're just
Mhm.
watching like, "Wait, what was that?"
Yep.
Uh, I call her Kesha Supergirl.
Okay.
Yeah. She's got glitter on her eyelids. She's ready to go to a party. And much like Superman, we've had a lot of Supergirls. We've had quite, at this point, we've been blessed with a lot of different versions. I'm excited to see where this one goes. Once again, not a huge fan of that miniseries. I trust the people behind it. And superficially, I love, we haven't even talked about the suit yet. I like her suit.
Mhm,
So that's half the work for me for
mhm.
Supergirl is how she looks in the suit. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I didn't talk about this, but a lot of people are kind of upset about the Kents. I
Yeah, I mean,
in their portrayal.
I think some of that is, from both Lois and Clark and, and Smallville, not so much the questionable parental skills in Man of Steel. Um,
Yeah,
that
Kevin Costner.
yeah, and I just think that was such a wasted opportunity because these are 2 powerhouse actors that should have had better material, um, for what they were gonna do. But I think with the actors that you had both on Lois and Clark and on Smallville is that, and some of it is you were able to get deep into John and Martha. You were able to get really deep into their motivations and how, how they what their relationship to each other is, and um I thought it almost, and this was the thing, like almost thought that Martha was like jokey, like the stereotype was so over the top. But again, this is one of those things where it's like bearing repeated viewings. The third time I didn't mind that stuff as much. And I certainly like the idea of Jonathan Kent being the mush of the two. Um, so, it's just like with Clark Kent. Like, if you love the concept of Clark Kent, this isn't your movie. Of Clark Kent as reporter. You get, Clark at his, at his core. And this was something I also said at, during the movie, Bears podcast last night is, at least from 1986 on, the moment that Kal-El landed on Earth, he was Clark Kent. That's who the person is at heart. Whereas with Batman, the moment that his parents are killed, Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, even if he doesn't really grow into the part till then. That's who those characters are at their core. And that was something that I thought this film did a lot better than the previous films, of showing Clark, you know.
Yeah, I think, David did a great job. You could tell who he was at any given moment.
Mhm,
Is he Kal-El? Is he Superman? Is he Clark Kent? That is a very hard line to toe, and I don't even think Christopher Reeve got all 3.
mhm.
He did a great Superman and a great Clark Kent, and Kal-El is the newest introduction, the 3rd persona, and I thought that David did a pretty good job impressing me with that.
Yep. And it's also interesting when I'm thinking of like the Clark and Kent scenes. I have a good friend who is an adoptive father, and he lost it in the last scene. He
Oh,
absolutely lost it, and um, not in a bad way, but he was a mess for like 2 days. Just he couldn't even bring it up without crying, and I'm actually tearing up thinking about some of our conversations. Uh, and and that's what I think was very important about this film is, the emotional depth that it goes to. There's gonna be something that you and I, as close as we are in terms of our line of thinking, there are different things that will emotionally set us off in this film from
sure.
how we approach things. And,
Right.
like, to me, that's the sign of a good film in that different people are going to be affected by different scenes, more than others. So, um, just the
Fair point. I mean, we don't think about that a lot.
emotionality
Yeah.
of it, yeah. Yep.
Super robots.
Oh,
Yay or nay?
yay, when it comes down
Yeah,
to it.
yay. Very
Yay.
yay.
Yay, when it
Yes.
comes down to it, yeah.
Uh,
Superman
the
robots
the
haven't
the
had
crypto
they've had some bad days in the comics in the last 25
they
years.
have
Some very bad
they
days. Yeah.
they get ripped apart a lot, you
Yeah,
guys.
and
Uh,
also, if you're a fan of Donna Troy, yikes.
yeah, oh boy. No, 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 no.
Gary
No,
wouldn't
no,
have
no.
done that.
Keep it inside, Mark. Keep it inside. Oh boy, you do right the button to push.
Oh, sorry.
The twist, the the Kryptonian twist on the parent's message.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Very divisive, very divisive.
yeah, but the thing
And
is, you have that, and that shows the importance of the Kents in his life and how he grew, you know? And, I know there's, like, so many, like, cockamamie theories that are going around, and, I mean, in my heart of hearts, what I would love to see, is that the translation is wrong and harem is actually friends, and your enemies, vanquish your enemies or whatever that, they're off base on that. That would be great. But I'm just approaching with what we have right now and that it's legit. And that certainly feeds into the developments of the comics of Superman's homeworld Krypton being a very sterilized and antiseptic uh planet, very hung up on caste system. And, you know, his rejection of that um is what makes him a hero in part. And it'll be interested to see that if they do follow up on that. Or they follow up on Krypton, which may be more resting more with Supergirl, than
yeah,
Superman and what's coming up. Yeah.
I mean James Gunn, man, he likes to plant the seeds of other things. To me, that's the Star-Lord moment, like, okay, we're gonna follow that up at some point, to
Yeah.
a greater degree. And I cannot be the only person that thought that Laura was Lady Gaga at first.
I also have to say,
I thought that's what it was.
it did not register that that was Bradley Cooper initially. It totally did not register the first time for me. And then when I was looking at the credits, because I had my eyes
Yeah,
glued to the credits the first time, to see if Michael Llewellyn Black was actually, Jack Ryder, I mean, like, my
right.
eyes were glued to those credits, and, that was a moment where I was like, "Huh?" Yeah.
It's surprised. Yeah, the audience like, "Oh my gosh. Oh, Bradley Cooper. What a surprise."
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, we've covered the film and hopes for the future. We talked a little bit about, a Daily Planet show,
Mhm.
Supergirl. What do you hope to see
Um,
in this next phase?
I think one of the big missteps of the Snyderverse, whatever you thought of the tone, was that the formation of the Justice League was premature.
Yeah.
We needed more time with these characters to get to know these characters so that when they actually did coalesce into a team that it had more impact. And Um, I hope that's down the road. Um, um, there's a lot of different ways that you could see. The only thing that is a bit where I do think it's that there's a legitimate criticism of Superman as a franchise is a lack of a great rogues gallery. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and some of that I understand because the character is so powerful, and there's you know, you know who can go toe to toe with him, Doomsday Mongol and Darkseid, um, and we've kind of already seen that. um, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the prospect of a cinematic Brainiac is tasty. I think that's a
Yes.
very tasty prospect.
In our
Um,
internet world, yes.
yep. I think the progression of Clark and Lois's relationship, I think would be interesting on film. Because just her, you know, in her third scene, she says, "I'm not good with relationships," and
Well,
that could dictate a kind of up and down relationship. I mean, just think of how heartbroken you might be at the end of whatever Superman sequel where they decide that they're gonna split up, you know? It could happen,
yeah.
you know?
Oh,
So
oh, it could. It
yeah.
could.
So I think that, they certainly laid the groundwork for that, and also from a political perspective, the notion that, okay, the metahumans are in charge now, um, and the particular complications that might come with that. Um, and I cannot wait for Superman Batman. I cannot wait for
Okay,
Corn
that was
Sweat
my
to
next question.
bounce against somebody else.
And
Yeah.
do we need Batman? Do we need Batman in this world?
Yeah, and we know he's there. We already know from Creature Commandos that he exists. Uh, and I have what I think is really good casting for Batman. Um, and uh, Cole Hauser. I think he would do a great job. He's born to the purple.
Who's Cole Hauser?
He's on Yellowstone. Rex on Yellowstone.
Cole Hauser. Wow. Cole Hauser is
And
the son of
Rucker Hauser, and
of
his mother is
of
of
one of the
the
Warners.
Warners. Yeah.
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 Yes. 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 Cass Warner.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 Who recently passed away. Bless Cass. She was amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm there.
Yeah.
Took me a second.
Yeah.
Very handsome man.
I think he would be, and he's the right age to have a Damien, um, and still be
Aren't we
virile.
all?
Yep.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
I just want a Legion of Superheroes movie. That's all I want, Bill.
Really? That's what you want?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah. Um, like, like my ideal would be a Starman movie. Actually, Starman series of movies. Um,
Which
that
Starman?
the Jack Knight, the James Robinson '90s version.
Okay. Okay.
That's my favorite comic series of all time.
I'm sure he's in that mural somewhere.
Yeah, he might be. And like in this world, in previous versions, like, and we even saw it in Black Adam, the concept of a justice society was like, huh? This world, I think we could buy it, you know, with very little alteration
True.
from the comics.
The Gunverse can sell just about anything.
Yeah. I think like for the
Good writing,
first
and good acting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Trust
see a
the
Teen
trust the
Titans,
concept.
I would love to see a Teen Titans,
Whoa.
from that.
Sure. As long as there's a Wonder Girl, I'm fine, but she always gets the shaft, so we'll see.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, she did
Hopefully, I'll be seeing the
it
difference then.
didn't go well, yeah. It didn't go well on the small screen. Yeah, that's true.
Did
And
not.
what an actress. Oh my
And
god.
now there's
Oh my
oh,
god. Just
yeah.
get her for Wonder Woman.
Yes. Yes, yes. If you haven't seen the show, the Titans show, HBO Max, watch it. It's worth it for a few characters alone. Crypto, Donna
Yeah.
Troy, Nightwing was pretty solid on that show.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. It was great talking to you, Bill. We could talk forever, and my
Yeah.
producer would kill me. I definitely want to have you back again. We've got Peacemaker season 2 coming out,
Mhm.
which will expand even more on the things like you said, the humans are in control. Something tells me that's going to be the through line of season 2 of Peacemaker.
Mhm.
Uh, Anything you want to plug, my friend? I know you've got the
Yeah.
Comic Bears
Yeah, so,
podcast.
so we have the Comic Book Bears podcast. You can find us on most of the social media outlets as Comic Book Bears, except for Facebook, where we are Comic Book Bears Podcast. If you wanna write to us for some reason, you can do so by sending an email to comicbookbears@gmail.com. You can download our episodes through Apple Podcasts and get them through most of the podcatching platforms like Spotify and Google Podcasts and all that. And, we do have a YouTube channel. All of our current shows are initially live streamed, and then we have, like, a little break, and then we release the audio episode. But the YouTube channel has an archive of both the audio and the video episodes. And
Awesome.
you can see my hair, like, gradually going more gray from
Ah,
so, uh, yeah, so
it does it to all of us.
that's the big one too. Yeah, I don't really have like much of a creative life right now, so I'd like to change that. But that's where you can see me in some sort of creative capacity.
I love it. And this is also a podcast dedicated to cosplay. I am certain I've seen you in Aquaman Underoos as a child.
As a child,
Have
yeah.
you ever have you yes, well, it was last night. Have you ever dressed as Superman as a child or recently?
As a child, yes. Um, I've never gone for cosplay. I admire the hell out of people who do it. Um, But I also think, like my main convention is New York Comic Con, and doing it
Yes.
there, that's a nightmare. That salute people at San Diego and all these other bigger cons who do that because it just can't be easy. Um, I think if I did cosplay, and I think you can appreciate that, I think I would be Black Hawk because you're already dressed for the leather bars at the end. You
Yeah.
don't have to change that.
Oh,
But I've
we're gonna
huge
make that happen, Bill. We're gonna
okay,
get you in Black
and that's
Hawk.
the good thing with Blackhawks is we could have a team.
Oh, sorry, it's getting really hot in here now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've planted the seed of the
on that note,
Blackhawks.
I you you really you really have. I wanna thank you, Mr. Bill Zanowitz, for being a guest. I couldn't have had anybody else talk with me about this film other than you.
Wow, well,
I can't
thank
wait
you
to
so
talk to
much
you
for
again,
inviting me. Yeah.
and you are very important to me. I love you, and you all really need to watch his stuff because if you have any questions about superheroes, comics, the Comic Bears podcast, you can shoot him questions and he will have the answer. You can find me at Bradley Bear 3000 on all the socials, and of course, right here. Producer Daniel is out there somewhere. Thank you for all you do, and we'll be coming at you next time. I'm working on the Jaws 50th anniversary special.
Oh, can
And
I just plug something?
I wish you would.
Along with that, yeah.
Uh,
Um, the next episode, which will live stream tomorrow of the Comic Book Bears, is a pilot episode from my co-host Steve new horror podcast,
oh,
and we are talking Jaws tomorrow.
all right. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and Brad, thank you so much for
Of
inviting
course.
me. I have to say, like, I love you too, and also your enthusiasm for so many of these franchises and so many of these concepts is so infectious that you're one of the go-to people when there is a bit of news to just see, where you stand with things. It's one of my favorite things, and I long for the day that we get to do the Blackhawks team in Complex
It's
cosplay.
gonna happen.
It's gonna
Oh,
happen now, I'm sure
this
of it.
is a thing, you guys. I appreciate those kind words, my friend. Until next time, everybody, stay caped and booted, and we'll talk to you soon. We're out of here, everybody.